Hey up everybody, it's Johnny P with this week's Now Then message. So at the moment we are facing very challenging times, and I was starting to think about the things that can influence us, and one of the key things is about universal laws. And I'm a big believer on we are absolutely influenced and directed by a lot of laws, and some of these laws that we can't see and sometimes we're not aware of them. We have things like the law of gravity, the law of electricity, but there's a lot of other laws that come into play. And the more that we are aware of them, the more we can start taking control of them. So one law that I'd like to introduce you to on this Now Then video is the law of association. What's around us, what are we associated with, is a very powerful law. And there's just some things that I'd like to talk to you about to get you thinking, to get you understanding that actually, you know, when you associate yourself with things, it has a massive influence on you. And from that influence, it can get you thinking and it can get you acting in different ways. So I want to start to really think about actually, what am I associated with? And there's a number of aspects of this law that once you start to understand them, you can then make a change if you want to. And again, this is in freedom of choice. This is entirely up to you what you want to do with this. I've always said, you know, I have no answers. I can ask the questions, it brings on the thinking, but then you choose to do what you want to do. You might have to make sacrifices around it, you might have to make changes, but you choose in the end. And that's our freedom of choice. This is what we've got. So this law that I'd like to introduce you to on this week's Now Then is the law of association. So there's three parts to this law. There is a thing called disassociation. There might be things when you can sit down and think about it that you might have to start disassociation with yourself. Now, this is not just people, because people automatically think, oh, you know, association is linked to people. Yes, it does. There might be people around you when you stand back and start to think about it that are not empowering you. They're not taking you down the right path. They've got you thinking in the wrong way. And it might be a choice that you need to make is to disassociate yourself from them. And I know this is very hard. I've had a number of friends in the past that, to be honest, got me going down the wrong paths. They got me thinking very negatively. They didn't make me feel good about myself. And I didn't know this law was in play. And then once I found out about this law, I decided to make a decision that slowly I disassociate myself with, and sometimes as quickly I just cut them off because they weren't empowering me and they didn't have my well-being at the forefront of their mind, and they were using me, etc. So first of all, disassociation with people, but there might be things as well. There might be things that you are doing that are not empowering you and not bringing good to you. And I like to think about those things that actually they are influencing you in a certain way. And is it time to start to disassociate yourself from those things? And look, I know it might be hard to do, but is it really time to say enough is enough? I've always said people change from inspiration or desperation. There is sometimes where you have to disassociate yourself with things because of desperation, or something inspires you to take action. The next part of this law is limited. There might be people or things in your life that you might have to start to limit. You might be doing too much of it. You might have to step back a little bit from those people that are not empowering you. And you start to limit it. So somebody said to me, yeah, but John, you know, what happens if it's a family member? You can't just disassociate him. And I said, not at all. I'm not promoting that. But what you can do is you maybe limit that association with them. If they're not bringing the good things into your life and making you feel like, you know, empowered and positive, etc., you might start to think about limiting that association. And also with those things, you know I limit my association with the television now. I limit my association with social media and my phone because I know that they're big distractions and they're getting me drifting and wasting time. I disassociate myself with certain foods now, where before I used to eat lots and lots of cheesecake and sweet things. I've slowly started to disassociate myself with those things and give myself some boundaries around it. And the last one is expanded association. What can you do more of that's empowering you, that's bringing you control? Who is it you can be around more? Who do you really look to as a role model? Now, there's one thing I do all the time is every day as a routine and a ritual, I watch a motivational video and I have these people around me talking to me all the time. So sometimes it's not a physical person, but what I've started to do as a routine is I listen to a motivational video, whoever that is, whoever really inspires you. And there's other things that I bring in now. I've expanded. I've expanded my, my exercise routine. So I go on the walks. I take a little bit longer. I've expanded my learning a little bit. So I watch a little bit more YouTube, the how-to videos. I pick up the book a little bit more. I've expanded my association with those things. And again, this is always in play. And this just gets you thinking about actually association is very powerful. It influences you in very subtle ways. And before you know it, you've arrived somewhere. And that's the key thing. Are the people that are surrounding you and the things that are surrounding you lifting you higher? Have they got you going in the right direction? Where will they take you in the next 2 weeks, 6 months, 3 years, 4 years? Really be thinking that through. Take charge of it and look to yourself to start thinking, what's associated? So I know at the moment we are being very tested and we have a test that we need to face, but it is a test I passionately believe that we will pass. We have to look to ourselves to get through this. It's not easy. And look to others and other things as well to help us through this. Day by day, step by step, this too will soon pass, I promise. Take charge. Put a structure, impose it on yourself. Have those little aims every day that you want to work to is so, so important. So thank you so much for your time listening to this week's Now Then message. Best of luck and I'll see you soon.